Alright, just a few quick things before I show you guys this footage. First of all, everyone that calls it a pike in advance, just know I love you guys, you're the best. Second of all, was not able to make it up to Champlain this year, and I know that's going to disappoint a lot of you in terms of the lack of footage you're going to see. My dad, Tom, had a great time up there, caught tons of fish. I just got way too caught up with work and school starting up that it just wasn't possible this year, and that's okay. I'm still talking to Cole, we're going to make it happen. Silver lining to that though is I have so much footage from this summer that I just never uploaded. Like, I know you're watching it right now. Why wasn't that a video? Look at that. Why didn't you put that up? And there's a few reasons to that, but maybe now that school's starting up again, I'm going to be back on kind of a routine schedule. We'll get into some sort of routine upload schedule again. Who knows, probably not, but enjoy this footage. I'll see you guys soon. Yeah, I wasn't lying to you, trust me. Yeah, it's a largemouth.
I was gonna go all the way out to the trees for the bass.
Yep. Usually I'm making a run across the entire reservoir. Maybe I shouldn't be doing that anymore. Yeah, another keeper. That's what's down there while I'm catching all these fish. I just was going in to get something at the boat ramp, and I look at my graph. There's fish everywhere. Alright, so I figured the best thing to do during this fight would be to give you a little John Skinner, C-Money-esque commentary, because it's like a 4-minute battle, so a lot goes on during it. Right now, picking up the drop shot rod, letting it fall into 30 feet of water on some fish I'm marking. And as you can see, I give you guys a nice little fail of myself almost falling into the water. That just shows you how clumsy I am with that butt seat up there. I've got a little Keitech on there. And this is not going to take very long. I want to explain this part because it looks confusing what's going on right now. I talked to the man himself a couple nights ago before this, Mike Iconelli, about deep water drop shotting because I've been losing some big ones on it, admittedly, in the past week. One tip he had for me was to keep your drag tight on the hook set and then immediately loosen it up. So that's exactly what happened on this fish. The problem was, for whatever reason, my line was wrapped around the spool in such a way that it was actually caught. So not only did I have a tight drag, I had line that wasn't even coming off the spool when I first took this fish. And I'm frantically trying to fix that. Finally the situation resolves itself. The fight's on. A million things are going through my head, none of which is a big pickerel. This is the same spot where I caught my personal best largemouth 4 years ago, 7.5 pounder. So immediately, of course, my head is thinking, this is a giant. So I'm definitely trying to take my time with it. You're gonna notice the drag is set really loose. And it's by design. I want that fish to be able to make runs whenever it can. I want that fish not to put any strain on both knots I have, the Palomar knot on the drop shot and the double uni knot. I'm using 6-pound test monofilament, just tied right to 15-pound braid. This is an absolute giant, guys. Same spot where I caught my personal best largemouth. And on a little drop shot now, I got an absolute giant fish. Trying to get him up. Keeps making runs, man. I've lost too many big fish here recently. I gotta get this one in. Oh my god, this is giant. So at this point in the fight, I'm definitely thinking in the back of my head, I mean, what is this? Because it's making runs where I don't even think it's a bass. You know, a bass at this point in the fight probably would have showed himself unless it's a real big largemouth. But the big smallmouth, they always like to jump, come up to the surface. So I pretty much ruled that out. Of course, now all the images of the giant pickerel I caught with one rod are coming back into my head. And for whatever reason, like right off the bat, I knew that if this was a pickerel, it was way bigger than either pickerel I caught with one rod, because the fight on this fish was remarkable. So I finally found an opportunity to grab the net, and I looked back down, get my first glimpse of the fish, and I didn't think it was what it was. I thought it was a huge bass, so my heart is racing at this point, but then finally it comes up to the surface, I get a better look at it, and I'll let the rest play out for you.
Oh, it's a giant. It's an absolute giant, guys. Oh my God. It could be the state record chain pickerel. I thought it was a bass at first, but this is bigger than either pickerel I caught with one rod. Get it. Oh my God. Holy shit. That might be the state record pickerel. Oh my God. Holy shit! Look at the size of that thing! Oh my God! That's close to the state record right there. That is really close to the state record. The state record's 9 something. I caught a 7-pounder with one rod and on this tiny drop shot. I thought it was a big bass. Oh my God. So I got that thing hanging out in the live well right now. I don't know. I don't know. I think the state record's, I want to say 9.7, maybe bigger. I don't remember. I have like 2% left on my phone, so I don't want to use it up. But I just looked on my graph, saw a couple marks, backed off, dropped the drop shot down, and it was instant. It still blew me just a little bit because, as you guys know, this is the spot where I did catch my 7.5 largemouth personal best. And I thought I had something like that on, but when I saw what it was, I couldn't believe it. I mean, if that's not a 9-pound pickerel, I don't know what is.
Alright, so some pretty shitty stuff happens at this point. I'm going in to look for a scale because obviously I don't have one, I'm not prepared. And my camera dies like 2 minutes into filming this, so I don't get any of this stuff on film. But I'm going to the ramp. I thought the guy at the ramp who works at Merrill would have a scale, but apparently he doesn't. And I was lucky enough to find one awesome kayaker who was loading up his kayak. He had what I would describe as kind of a knockoff version of a boga grip, where you just kind of hook the fish on and it tells you a number. We weighed this pickerel. It weighed between 8.5 and 8 3/4 pounds. Now, I don't know how accurate the scale was. I actually didn't even bother to ask him if it was accurate. It's funny, I think I was kind of just in the moment. I measured the fish. He measured 30 inches. I tried to release him at the ramp, but for whatever reason, you know, I guess the stress of being out of the water and coming out of deep water, he didn't want to go. So I decided to put him in my live well, try to find a place where I could get him certifiably weighed, because at this point, I find out that the state record's only 9.3. So I'm thinking, man, this really could be it. And I'm calling places, no one's picking up because it's Sunday. I drive past another local reservoir on my way to try to find somewhere. And I go back, look at the fish in the live well. miraculously, he's actually coming to. So I made the tough decision to just release him. I just let him go in that reservoir. He's swimming free. I'm not even going to say where because, I don't know. I just think it'd be kind of cool if I'm actually the only one that knows where it is. But I'm sure people that live in the area are going to take a pretty accurate guess at it. There's not that many places around Merrill. Regardless, I'm just so happy that I was finally able to get a catch like this on film and show it to you guys. Because God knows, the best catches with me are always the ones that happen when the camera's off.